What is up, everybody? This is Axe,
And this is Gamer.
and we are coming to you live just about an hour after the conclusion of AEW's All Out pay-per-view. Man, what a show!
What a show, man. Definitely the best by far. Just when you think AEW can't get any better, they do. They do on a extreme level. I mean, tonight the wrestling is nothing like I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Just nothing.
yeah, it had a little bit of everything. You had some great singles competition, some tag team action. You had a little bit of hardcore stuff, a splash of comedy stuff, setting up for the future for the TV show. Just tons of great stuff going on this pay-per-view, and we're gonna get right into it. Starting off on the buy-in, which is the pre-show, we had the Casino Battle Royale, where the winner receives a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship against a contender who we'll talk a little bit more about the other contender a little bit later on in this video. But man, what'd you think about this Battle Royale?
I thought it was, I thought it was awesome just because of the fact that this women's division in AEW's brand of wrestling is a whole lot different.
Mhm.
Because you have women from different backgrounds, different organizations that have came into AEW and signed with AEW. So you get a mixture of everything compiled into one, and that's what makes the women's division more, I'll say, attractive. Because it's just different.
Right.
And tonight we just seen some just good wrestling in this Casino Battle Royale.
Yeah, very very good match here, especially to start off the evening of action. Really really kind of got the crowd into it, and of course we have Nyla, who came out victorious with a ton of eliminations. I mean, she eliminated a ton of people, so it wasn't just that she won; she put on a very very strong showing. So she's going to
Right.
be guaranteed a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. And also on the buy-in, we had Private Party taking on Angelico and Jack Evans, and this was a really good match too. Very fast-paced, hard-hitting, athletic match.
Right, and just moves that you never seen before. Like, how did they do that?
Yeah,
Which is nothing, shorter than what AEW is all about. But overall, man, just like you say, it was fast paced. There was a lot of high flying. Just all around, just good wrestling, and yeah, it was a good match.
yeah, just all-around great match, and a great kind of pre-show. We were talking about how AEW, the only real thing they had to work on is their post-show. Kind of needs a little work. Well, I guess we'll go
We'll
into
get
that
to
later.
that here in just a little bit. Stay tuned.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the pre-show was great. And opening up the main card, we had a six-man tag match where we have SCU taking on Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. And man, this was a great match all the way through. Everybody looked great in this match. There were a lot of very interesting spots. Everybody, got to get the spotlight on him. And in my opinion, even though his team didn't win in this case, uh, the MVP in this match was Luchasaurus, man. Did you see that one sequence he did where he just cleared the whole ring?
Right, and how about when he jumped off the middle rope?
Yeah, and I was just saying that, joking around, because, he's the biggest man in the ring. I don't know how big he is, dude. He's got to be at least, maybe 6'3", 6'4", like,
So, something like that.
yeah,
But he's a big man.
yeah,
He's a big man.
he's a big man. He dwarfs everybody else in the match. So you have SCU on the outside, and you have Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, who are kind of like the smaller, more athletic, more acrobatic type of wrestlers. And I can't remember who went first, whether it was Stunt or whether it was Jungle Boy, but one goes over the top, and then the other, Jungle Boy went first?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Marco Stunt goes over, and I'm just kind of watching this, and I was saying it sarcastically to myself. I was like, all right, Luchasaurus, now it's your turn. And all of a sudden, the camera pans back on him. I'm like, whoa, dude, he's actually thinking about it. And he nails it, man. He nails it. Soars through the air like a majestic, acrobatic Tyrannosaurus Rex and just takes out everybody. And then later in the match, he had that sequence where he throws, I think, 5 different kick variations. He did, a big boot, a side kick, a roundhouse kick, a question mark kick, and, just, a head kick. And then he starts doing, you know, I think he did
a shooting star press.
Yeah, a shooting star press just from a stationary position, man. Just such an athletic guy. And I know they put Marco Stunt with him for this pairing so they could have a 6-person tag. But I think that in the future, you know, we'll talk a little more about the tag division of AEW later in this video. But I think that, you know, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy have a lot of potential to be maybe the tag team champions of this division one day. Because while they, you know, their team wasn't able to beat SCU, they had a great showing, man. Everybody looked great in this match. It was a kind of high energy match you need to really kick off the show.
That's it, just plain simple. Yeah, they're really going to make their mark in the tag team division again. You know, with everything going live on TNT October 2nd, you know, we're going to actually see some storylines play out and actually see where they're going to be at, like as far as in the stories on how soon they'll get to have that match.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
just a great all-around match.
Yeah, and then we have the actual second match for the qualifier for the AEW's Women's Championship on the October 2nd when they go to TNT. And Rio, I want to say is her name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Defeated Hikaru Shiina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Listen, when it comes to names, you know, forgive me. I feel like Alex on the AEW broadcast team there.
Nah, you're a little better than him.
just a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey, I'll take that any day. But man, how about that match? I mean, I did not see that coming at all, just because of how tiny is Rio, man. She's like 98 pounds, they said.
Yeah, she's, I mean, if she was in the UFC, she'd have to put on like 20 pounds to fight at their lightest weight class. So she's tiny, but, you know, she's dynamic in her style. She and Hikari Shiina both, they have that fast-paced, athletic style of wrestling. And like you were saying, AEW's women's division is different, and that's the best way to describe it, because it's different in the best sense of the term. And this match really showcased that. And I think either one of these women winning the title or winning the shot at the title in this match would have been good. Even though Hikari Shiina didn't get the win, I think she's still going to be a top star in this women's division. She's going to still be in the running for the women's championship later on. You know, like we said, they have to save some things for TV.
Right.
Have to have some direction to go in. So I'm sure she'll be back in the mix after she put on such a good showing. And the interesting thing here about them putting Riho in this spot to contend for the AEW Women's Championship is when we were talking about Nyla. Now, Nyla is a powerhouse style wrestler. You know, she is a brawler. Right. She uses her size, she uses her strength, and that is her claim to fame, and she kind of builds her style around that. Whereas Riho is this fast, super athletic, agile competitor, and that's going to be a really interesting clash of styles when they face off for this championship. And I don't know who's going to win that match, man, but that's guaranteed to be fireworks as well.
I think it will just come down to stamina.
Right.
At the, you know, just because we were talking about how, you know, Rio's just so quick, and, you know, of course, Rose, she's just, you know, she uses her power, stuff like that, and she's just, well, she's a beast,
right.
My personal opinion, and it will just, like you said, we'll just see how it turns out once we get that match on October the 2nd. But going into the next match, which starting to get down to, you know, the main card here, is Cody defeated Shawn Spears.
Yeah, man.
And oh my gosh, like here, like don't get me wrong, the whole entire card, like even the buy-in and all that, okay, leading up to this, like these next 3 matches, they were great, don't get me wrong, but these next 3 matches really made the show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I'm not faulting anybody, but this set up a lot going into October the 2nd on TNT. With, you know, of course, we know that Cody defeated Shawn Spears. We know that. But how about good old Arn Anderson making an appearance, man?
Dude, such an amazing moment. The roof came off this place because, of course, you have Tully Blanchard in the corner of Shawn Spears which is an interesting element to have there because, of course, Tully was, a member of the Horsemen. He was affiliated with that era of wrestling, and, of course, he feuded with Cody's dad. He's no stranger to dealing with the Rhodes family, so putting him in the corner of Shawn Spears was a great element to do. And, we kind of saw him interfere in this match a ton, almost to the point that it was almost for a minute like it was getting overplayed. Like, it was like, okay, this is getting a little much. And when they kept doing it, I was like, this has to be for a reason. They're not just going to do this and not have some sort of payoff, dude. And here comes Arn Anderson, man. Another one of the Horsemen who comes down, hits the spine buster. Man, he's still got it. He's still got that spine buster. Did you see the height he got on that thing?
Amazing. And dude, how old is he? He's like, what, 60s, 70s?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's up there. And he lays out Shawn Spears with that spine buster. The roof comes off the place. And dude, Cody and Shawn just went so hard in this match. We were seeing, power move after power move. Both of them, taking spills out on the floor, power slams on the floor, getting, whipped with a belt and all this stuff, man. It's just so many great moments throughout this match. And Cody comes out victorious. And another interesting element about this match was Cody had MJF in his corner. And, of course, the match stipulated. We saw this in the build-up when they were doing the promo work. And great promo work beforehand, by the way. We talked about that, how they made this feel like a real fight. They made it feel like these two really had genuine animosity. They were, they really hated each other.
Exactly.
And they sold it in the match, too. It translated here. That's one reason why the crowd was so hot. This... as soon as the match started, like, Cody just runs and jumps over the top rope to get to Shawn Spears, and they just start going at it. It turns around and clocks Tully. It's just an amazing match. But the element from the start was, Cody comes down and he has Brandy, he has DDP, and he has MJF walking by him, and he chooses MJF to be the man who's gonna accompany him out there. Logical choice. MJF is the most athletic of the three, the most, if you want a young athletic guy there to have your back in a fight. But as this match went on, at times it kind of seemed like MJF was almost working against Cody. Like, he'd get so involved, he'd end up distracting the referee inadvertently, so either Shawn or Tully could get one over on Cody. And at the end of the match, when Cody had his back turned, MJF standing there with a chair, and everybody's like, oh man, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it?
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah, I thought that too. And we were talking about this. We think that the next logical program for Cody moving into the TV show, we're sure he'll have some other opponents and stuff, and he'll have some just general matchups and stuff to get on TV. But his next big feud might be against MJF, because if the Shawn Spears thing is done, maybe MJF will finally turn on Cody, because he has that heel persona. You know what I mean? And that's where he shines.
I mean, that's just his character, and that's the reason why a lot of people hate him and a lot of people love him. You know what I mean? He is definitely a unique heel. I will tell you that. And yeah, he's just not going to play the good guy, if you want to, for very long. I think there's something up his sleeve, and we're going to find out very, very soon. And I was going to say something, but do you think Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, like, there's going to be something in the mix, like, they're going to lead into something with that, like, later on?
Yeah, I could see both of them being, like, in the corner of some talent later on, because I think Tully plays that role really well of being like the sagely manager, not just a manager who's out there to accompany you to the ring, but a manager who knows the business, who knows, he knows wrestling psychology, he knows how to get the crowd reacting, and he's that person who, in terms of the story, he could impart wisdom on the talent he's creating. And I think, Arn Anderson is that kind of talent too. And the great thing being, Arn and Tully, they go back so far, they have such a history that, yeah, dude, I think bringing Arn in, I think he's a perfect fit for this to be kind of a managerial figure, whether he's doing it behind the scenes or whether he's doing it on camera. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I can't wait either. It's going to be great. And the next match that we have, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, but it was for the AAA Tag Team Championship. Pretty much it was a ladder match, and it was a killer ladder match. I mean, I want to say it was a tables, ladders, and chair match.
Pretty much.
That was just like on like a level 20.
Yeah.
Between of course, the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. And,
right.
Of course, the Lucha Brothers came out on top, but man, I don't know what that move was. Like, it just escapes me, but where I think it was Matt, they got drove through the table like off the top of the ladder.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Matt or not, but dude, this is what we're talking about with AEW. You don't see this stuff. I've never seen somebody do that move that high up in the air, and excuse me, especially through through a table.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And then how about like them going through the ladder over top of the ropes to the outside, and then vice versa into the ring under, like, in between the ladder. That is crazy.
Yeah, man. It's just all four of these guys are such incredible athletes, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody didn't get hurt in that match. I hope everybody's okay.
Right.
But man, the spills they were taking in that match and the moves they did, it was just so brutal on some occasions, man. That, like you were saying, it's rare that a wrestling match that you watch it and can honestly make you like recoil and jump, where it's like, oh man, especially guys like us who we've watched wrestling from various companies and stuff. We sample a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and but AEW, man, just brings something completely different to the table. And hats off to all four of these guys. And I say hats off, no pun intended, because one of the Young Bucks did the unforgivable sin when you're fighting a luchador, is he actually pulled the mask off. And that, you could tell the AEW crowd really respects like wrestling and the traditions of wrestling, because everybody gasps when it happens. It's like, dude, you don't do that. That's
a big no-no.
And they played this up because I think something happened with the guy, like his brother was in trouble or something. His brother got knocked off the ladder. Well, he sees one of the Young Bucks climb off the ladder. He comes in, covering his face with one hand, and uses his other to push over the ladder. So even, with his mask on, and the ultimate insult upon him, he's still fighting, man. Just such a great match. And the Lucha Brothers came out on top, but when AEW does debut their own tag team championships, we're pretty sure they're going to, there's going to be a lot of teams in the running, especially the team that just debuted after this match, which is we thought it was going to happen, but LAX is officially part of the roster. This is another very athletic, fast-paced, agile tag team that is going to be a perfect fit for this division. They have that dynamic style where they work really well together. They've got so many great move combinations and things like that, and they got a huge reaction from the crowd, man, when they took off their masks.
Dude. I was shocked. I mean, I kind of had a feeling, but I was like, yeah, maybe not right now. They're probably going to save them probably for later, but I didn't expect them to get revealed that soon. We both, said it was a possibility, but we didn't see it happening, right off the bat. But that's one thing that we definitely got wrong. But, yeah, man, it was awesome to see them, make their AEW debut. And then we're leading into, of course, the Omega and Poc match.
Right.
Yes, I got that one wrong. I totally did.
Yeah, me too.
I did not expect that to happen at all. I don't know if it's just because they just wanted to get that out of the, I don't know what their plan was, man. Maybe you can make some sense out of it. Yeah. I don't know, but it just threw me off because I had everything planned out, for this show if Omega won. But when that happened, I'm like, man, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
This was an interesting match for a lot of reasons. Number one, they had a tough task ahead of them, not because they're not great talent. They're both great talents, and they proved tonight they have great chemistry together. But, of course, the original match was supposed to be Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, a feud that was set up at Double or Nothing at the end. So, with Mox injured, Pac stepped in, and so this wasn't the match that we expected, of course, when the card was announced. But man, we're lucky we got to see this match because it was an incredible match. Both guys, just showing off, just had the crowd in the palm of their hand, man. I think there's one moment where Omega, he does a leg sweep, and Pac does a front flip and just casually strolls away. Nope, you're not getting me with that one. And They had so many great moves throughout this match, man, and people watching have to forgive me. I don't know the names of their finishers. I know that Omega at one point was trying to finish. I think he was trying to hit the one-winged angel. I think it's called. He had Pac up on his back.
Angel. Yeah.
And all of a sudden Pac reverses it into a standing version of his finisher, which I can't remember the name of. It's very similar to, might be the same thing as the Rings of Saturn, popularized by Perry Saturn back in WCW. And he locks it in, and they actually had the finish of having, Kenny wouldn't tap out, so the pain, it actually puts him out, so he.
Right.
It's I guess a technical submission victory for Pac, and like we said, man, that was unexpected. But that also, on one hand, it's kind of iffy because now on the big show, Kenny Omega is officially 0-2. Now, granted, the first person he lost to was Chris Jericho, which is not a bad guy to lose to for a reason we'll talk about here very shortly. But and Pac's not a bad person to lose to either. But we do want to see Kenny bounce back, maybe start getting some victories. He has to beat Moxley when they fight. He has to come out of that feud looking good.
Which he will.
Yeah, safe to say. And as for Pac, man, we'll just go ahead and mention this, even though we're going a little bit out of order here. We saw him kind of beefing with Hangman Page at the post show, so that's a great program right there. I think that's a logical direction for both of those guys to go to, because we got a couple more matches to touch on real quick before we go to the main event. But yeah, man, right. I think
a little bit.
It's all good. But Pac versus Hangman eventually, I think that would be a great program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, I know it just seems like I sound like a broken record, but what AEW is building is just something that's just totally different, and the storylines that they have planned out, for TNT, is just, it just builds up for like better matches to come. Like, of course, we got the Full Gear pay-per-view coming in November. I want to say, November, and then of course, then bringing in, new talent. It seems like almost all the time, which I can't blame talent wanting to come over to the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? But man, it's just a great time to be a wrestling fan, and like we were saying, we kind of got out of order just a little bit because, man, we're just excited to just talk about it. But then you have the Cracker Barrel clash with Jimmy Havoc,
right?
Joey Janela and Darby Allin,
right?
I wonder how Cracker Barrel feels about lending barrels to AEW.
I don't know about that, but I hope they like I hope they like hardcore wrestling, because that's kind of what we got here. We've said this pay-per-view had a little bit of everything, and this was a match where we got to see some of that old school kind of hardcore style. When we say hardcore style, they taped Jimmy Havoc to a chair, put thumbtacks in his mouth, and then taped his mouth shut. That kind of hardcore stuff. So, just some brutal stuff, man. Of course, they used the barrels as weapons, using them, flying through tables and stuff, and flying on top of people with the barrels. Just brutal.
What about, and I've never seen this before at all, which, of course, Darby Allin does an ollie.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was beautiful.
Skateboard,
yeah.
And there was tacks on the bottom of it, and kind of just rakes it against, Joey Janela's back.
Yeah, just...
It's just stuff like that, man. It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Just so many memorable moments in this match, and it just goes to show, like I said, AEW can do a little bit of everything, man, with the roster of talent they have. And Jimmy Havoc did win this match, which, I mean, and he earned that win, man. After all he went through,
he's going to be having some pain tonight.
He will, dude. He's going to be laid up. He's probably going to need some pain relievers or something, man. He's going to need some serious help. But kudos to all three of those guys, because they put on a great match. But we also had Dark Order versus the Best Friends, with the condition of this match being that the winner gets a first round bye in the upcoming AEW Tag Team Tournament. So that's a big deal for the tag team division.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, of course, we already have our predictions when it comes to the AEW Tag Team Championship. But hey, after I seen what happened between Omega and Pac, you know what I mean?
Yeah, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. But we're going with, of course, the Young Bucks being your first AEW Tag Team Champions.
Right.
But if I'm wrong, hey, that's okay, because, man, especially when it comes to tag team division, I mean, the roster is stacked, okay? And it's important to have this bye that the Dark Order, acquired tonight, because they can kind of sit back. They have a little bit more time to plan. They kind of sit back and study film on their opponent or just watch live, wherever they want to do, and build a more better game plan. Now, I'm saying the Dark Order, they're just as good as Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and the rest of them, which I really didn't expect, considering that, man, there's a big boy on that team.
Right.
He can move, man,
yeah, dude.
and he's agile as all get out. So, good for them, earn the bye, and now it's just going to get interesting from here on out.
Yeah, and of course, this team, the last time we saw them, the lights went out and they had made their debut. This time, the lights go out. And when they come back on, we have the newest and perhaps most polarizing signee in AEW. Of course, we're talking about the man, freshly squeezed, Orange Cassidy. And this guy is hilarious. We were talking about this card had a little bit of everything. You had the women's wrestling, you had the tag team wrestling, you had the 6-man tag wrestling, you had the hardcore wrestling, and we've got a little bit of like that comedy style wrestling with Orange Cassidy, man. As you see him flying outside of the ring with his hands in his pockets, just so chill. Right. He's so great, man. I love him. Yeah.
He's so cool about it. Yeah, I guess that's the reason for the shades, but I think he goes perfect with the best friends.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people, thought it was funny at first, but people kind of embraced it. Two men hugging and stuff like that, and then you bring a character like Orange Cassidy into the mix. I mean, it was just perfect. They did it. They nailed it on the head, man.
Yeah, and that makes me think too. One thing that AEW might want to think about doing moving forward, since they have so many of these, I don't think they have a big enough roster to have tag team titles and 6-man tag titles. But what they may want to do is start using the Freebird rule, which is basically if you have a 3-man group. Any 2 members of that group could defend the tag titles at any time. That would be kind of cool. Like if they wanted to start pairing some of these guys up in groups.
Drop that in the suggestion box. I'm
Absolutely.
Pretty sure that Cody and them would probably take interest in that.
Absolutely. It'd be perfect for, showing off more of the talent and everything and kind of keeping it fresh and whatnot. So definitely some possibilities there. But we got one match left, man, and this was the big one. This was the main event to crown the first ever AEW World Champion. You have Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho, and in our last video, man, we called it.
And it made perfect sense. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did, but let's just put it this way. Chris Jericho, he's a legendary wrestler.
Right.
I mean, and he's a big talent for AEW. Matter of fact, I want to go as far as to say that he is probably one of the main reasons why AEW has gotten so much attention. I mean, excuse me, no discredit to the talent that is on the roster or anything, because granted, they put in the work too. But with a name like Chris Jericho, like on your roster, representing your company, and as many years as he's been in the business and what he did at WCW and also what he did at WWE, and then now he comes over and it's like, hey, we got him on AEW, it's not going to be a one and done for him.
Right.
It's just going to build this brand, and that's what Jericho just wants to do. He's doing everything like he normally does. He's a fantastic heel. Love him as a heel. He played the good guy. I think it was back like when his early WCW days, and also when he first came over to WWE. Yeah, that worked. But man, he's got more love, I think, as a heel than as a face.
Yeah, he's just a natural, and in this match, he really put on a great show. And some people were saying he was moving a little slower, but I think he has adapted his style to be more of a power style wrestler. Because if you look at him now, his back is bigger, his arms are bigger. He's kind of adapted his style over the years. In this match, man, he was bleeding, he was taking the big bumps, and a credit to both guys, man. They were both really going at it. We got to see so many near falls, man. You could they really drove it home that both these guys wanted to have the honor of being the first man ever to call himself AEW World Champion. But in the end, it was Jericho who got it done with the Judas effect, which, to be honest, I kind of forgot about that. Like, he hit the code breaker, he hit the walls of Jericho. So many close calls with that. And, Heyman was hitting his move. He had the, I know he's got the buckshot lariat. What's the other, the Deadeye? Deadeye, yeah. He hit that a couple times, and then, dude, out of nowhere, Jericho just delivers the Judas effect, and that's all she wrote, man. And I think it was a good move to have Jericho as, the first world champion, because now there's so many contenders, man. Like, I think that, the next logical thing would be for if you know, if like we were talking about, Pac and Hangman were kind of beefing on the post show, maybe have those guys go at it to determine, maybe the winner of that will be closer to the title. And also, you have Kenny Omega versus John Moxley. If Omega beats John Moxley, he could essentially go and get a rematch with Jericho, which would be a rematch of their contest from Double or Nothing, and that would give him a chance to not only get the win back, avenge his loss, but get to the top. So just so many possibilities for which way they could go, man. I'm glad Jericho won the title. I think it was a perfect way to cap off the card, and just a fantastic title match, man. Great choice for your first world champion.
Absolutely, and I'm just gonna go ahead and call it, like right now on August 31st. Well, actually, right now it's September the 1st, 2019. But Hangman, don't count him out. He'll be champion, but I don't think it'll be. I think it'll probably be at least max a year before we see him as a champion.
Right.
Because they just have to work out so many storylines, really build, upon the TNT live events and doing pay-per-views and all that. But then Hangman will get a shot again. I can't wait to see him. But yes, then granted, All Out ended fantastically. I mean, couldn't ask for a better pay-per-view. But then, as we were talking about earlier, the post show.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm like, AEW, why you gonna go out like that, man? It's like, that was the most, like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, pitiful post show that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Which, of course, we gotta look at it like this. I'm looking at both sides of the fence here. Yes, it was awful, but also they are new. Okay,
right.
They are still getting things together.
Right.
Okay, and that's something that they're just going to have to work out as time goes on.
Right.
But yeah, how about them starting off with, well, first we had the pleasure of seeing Marvez and what's his name? With the mask.
Oh yeah, Excalibur.
I figured. See, man, about had it. But Excalibur, and bless Alex's heart, but man, I don't know. I just don't think that he's a good fit for the commentary team. I could be wrong, but I mean, he called the post show a post game show.
Yeah,
and,
we gotta get Tony Schiavone in there.
Yeah, Tony, please. Why? Matter of fact, what? Speaking of that, where was he?
I said they had probably already signed on the other guy, Alex, before like Tony got signed to the company. So
right, yeah,
they probably had a guarantee that Alex would be on at this time. So I'd say Tony, because he did some of the promo work.
Promos.
Yeah, so I'd say he'll probably be on TV, and if not on TV, he'll probably definitely be on the next paper. Yeah, Full Gear for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this post show is like what, 20 minutes long or something?
20 minutes long, and it was the most probably. Which no, we take that back, because like we said, Hangman and Pac. When
that was good.
Interviewing Hangman, that was great. But when they went to Jericho, that's just when everything just kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
she left it as it was.
It was like 2 minutes, and Jericho opened a bottle of champagne, and then like I was thinking, okay, we're getting started here. We'll see where this goes. So I go to the kitchen to get a snack. I come back and it's over. I'm like, what? Did the stream die? I'm trying to refresh it, and I'm like, oh, it ended. Then it's like, I think I like if they're gonna do like a post pay-per-view content, I would rather them either do an hour pre-show, so it kind of has that UFC vibe, where they actually talk for like an hour or so, and they actually have, all the people who competed come in, or not all of them, but most of them come in and do an interview. They recap the night, they show highlights, they talk about what they're doing next, or just do what they did after Double or Nothing, which is just upload separate videos, like upload a video of here's Jericho talking to the press after his match, here's Hangman talking, now here's Pac, here's, and you can have those situations where maybe, like if Pac and Hangman, they were going to set up their program there, you can do that in a video just as well as you could on a post show. But if you're going to have a post show, I mean, I wouldn't do it if it's only 20 minutes. But like you said, they are new, they're getting things lined out. I thought the camera work, the commentary, and everything was significantly better than it was at Double or Nothing. Not that Double or Nothing was bad, but like we said, this is a young company. They are growing. Right. They are young bucks, if you will, no pun intended. And so yeah, they're coming along nice, man. It was a really good show all around. Really happy with it. I'm excited for TV, man. I cannot wait.
Can't wait either. And another thing, like we're talking about, just the little bits and pieces that they need to work on. Good old JR, man. I noticed, I don't know if anybody else did, please feel free to comment, or if you're watching, comment, but let me know if you, noticed this. But good old JR, he had a little bit of trouble tonight too, getting names right, but he's gotten extremely better though. And I don't know if anybody else knows this, but when the wrestlers make their intro, they kind of have like their win and losses, like in AEW. Mm-hmm. That's new. It's kind of like a USC record, so to speak.
It's nice.
I thought that was pretty neat. I was like, man, I've never seen that before. You see, that just goes to show, AEW is just different. They said it would be different. It's a revolution, quoting Cody Rhodes. And so far, this revolution is starting off with a bang. I cannot wait for TV.
Yeah, man, because like we were talking, in wrestling, wins and losses still have to matter. Like, when you're talking about any type of combat athlete, whether it's an MMA fighter, a boxer, a jiu-jitsu fighter, Muay Thai, or a wrestler, if you want to get this person across to the audience as this is a tough person, this is somebody who you want to watch compete, you have to show them, well, they've got a winning record here. They win a lot more than
kind of like they did with Goldberg.
Exactly. Exactly what I was thinking, because they made it a big deal that, hey, this guy's record is this thing. And a lot of people say, oh, his only gimmick was he was undefeated. That's a great gimmick to have. You know what I mean? That's great. Yeah. It's supposed to be portrayed like a sport. If you show this guy wins all the time and all he does is win, that's all the gimmick you need,
I mean, he did get beat once, and that's by Big Show, matter of fact. The Giant.
Kevin Nash.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it was
See,
the one
they're the same size. They look similar. I get them mixed up.
They're pretty much the same moveset.
Big Sexy. That's the only difference. His tagline. But, Kevin Nash was, I think, the only person that beat him when he beat him. I think it was due to the help of Scott Hall.
Yeah. He had a few more losses after that, but that didn't really count because he already kind of lost his mystique after that. But yeah.
Right.
But
right.
Anyway, so overall, great pay-per-view, and like we said, we do have the TNT show starting on October 2nd, and we do have the show preview here on the AEW website. So far, we have 4 things we know going on. The first is the first ever live TV appearance of Jon Moxley. He will be on the show, so of course he's one of the biggest signings because he made the jump over from another company. He's one of the biggest stars in the industry. He's been wrestling for other companies since then. He's been on the indie scene. He's been in Japan. He's been doing all these different shows, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. So because he wasn't able to compete on this card, I think it's going to make people that much more excited to see him on TV. Also, of course, we have the first ever AEW Women's World Championship title match. Can't wait for that. We have Cody taking on Sammy Guevara. Going to be a great match there. And then we have Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and 2 mystery partners. And who knows what Jericho's going to pull off there, man. Who knows?
Oh, man. I'm telling you, I think there was an article that I was reading right before the buy-in came on, and it was about Cody saying, referring to a former WWE World Champion, said that if they, saying if he doesn't get used or whatever like that, by WWE, he's going to steal him.
Dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be something huge. I can't wait. Because it's their first time on TV, man. They're gonna be pulling out all the stops. There's gonna be some surprises on this show. There's probably gonna be surprise debuts, maybe some turns.
Wait.
Yeah, dude. It's gonna be such.
Which AEW's not going to just stand by and be idle. They're going to be doing like they did Road to All Out and all that good stuff. We'll see some things and possibly get some news maybe new signings, some surprises along the way. But like you said, they're really going to pull out all the surprises once they hit live TV.
Exactly, and we're going to be right here to cover it for you guys. We're very excited about AEW and their journey into becoming really the hottest thing in pro wrestling right now. And
yes,
we're right here to cover it. We're going to be around doing videos covering the television debut. We'll probably do another podcast before the TV debut because, like you said, there's going to be more news come out. So maybe like a week or so prior to the TV show, we'll do a podcast giving our predictions, and then we'll do another later on to build up to the next pay-per-view. But let's get back to it for this podcast. We want to thank everybody who checked us out, and awesome card tonight. And man, I cannot wait to see where AEW goes in the future.
Exactly, and stay tuned for freshly squeezed content right here on Axeman Gaming.
Stay awesome.